Thank you for coming.
Great, thank you for the opportunity. And we pretty much covered the first slide there, so I'm going to move on. So I am director of the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council, and our mission is to inform, empower, and mobilize county residents to survive and thrive in a wildfire-prone environment. And since part of what we do is helping help people get prepared for wildfires, I'm going to go through a little bit, kind of a two-half program. I'm going to go through what we do now, so you know what we're doing and what's available, and then focus in particularly on the community involvement part of what we do, that hopefully you will all get involved in yourself. So through our mission, we do operations, including in developing neighborhood fire safe councils, which is what I'm going to talk about later. We do outreach and education. We've got a lot of material up on our website and more being added almost daily. We plan and implement large projects countywide. We do it through funding from a huge array of sources. As you can see on the screen, we get significant help from the County of Mendocino, from the Community Foundation, and from numerous other grantees. We just got another little grant from Pacific Gas and Electric yesterday. Through those things, what we do are, we manage large road clearing projects and fuel breaks. So we've got several of those going on now. I like to say there's like two major ways we can make big things happen. One is by landing a lot of grant money and bringing in a large machine and crew. And the other is by getting a whole lot of people with shovels and rakes in neighborhoods, and you can accomplish the same thing in the same amount of time both ways, and we need to be doing both. Our largest project at the moment is called the Ukiah Valley Fire Fuels Reduction Project. We've cleared, I believe, this fall, summer and fall, something in the line of like 11 miles of road on the east and west sides of Ukiah. We're about to move on to doing off-road fuel breaks coming further into fall. We are doing similar program in Anderson Valley and a lot of work up in the Brook Trails area and on Williams Ranch Road. So we have crews working in a lot of different places. We have a community chipper program, which is a good one to know about. We are doing a lot of chipping right now. The chipper program's up and running. We have our own chipper. And we organize those primarily around neighborhoods that organize themselves. So if you get a bunch of neighbors together and do a bunch of defensible space clearing, a huge problem with that is then you then have a bunch of material that you either have to pay for somebody to chip, which is very expensive, or haul. And so if you organize your neighborhood to do that, we can come do that for you in a group, in a kind of a day event. We also have a brand new program we're in the process of rolling out right now to provide defensible space for income qualified folks who are either senior or disabled. So we just closed actually the round of applications for that, and we're beginning the assessment process and beginning to work on that project. We are working on a series of videos with folks from the UC system on how to harden your home and prepare for fires. You'll see those showing up on our website over the next month. We have a ton of other ongoing programs, including you can order a reflective address sign to help emergency responders find you when it's dark and they're from outside of the area. You can order those on our website. We have lots of literature, including a brand new version of the Living with Wildfire in Mendocino County that you can see on our website. We have a membership program. We assist with community projects and mitigation planning. We're working with the county right now on helping to craft an abatement ordinance. We help form neighborhood councils, as I mentioned. Lots of other programs. One exciting one to look out for coming up. I think our first program's October 27th. There is going to be a Mendocino County Fire Safe Council radio program on KZYX. We'll bring a lot more in-depth information. Here are the sort of summary of the 4 things we organize around trying to get people to do. One is home hardening. Quite related to that is defensible space. One of the things that people tend to think incorrectly about wildfire is that homes are mostly damaged when fire comes sweeping through the area. Actually, most homes that burn down in wildfires are burned down from embers drifting from a fire that can be happening as far as a mile away. So home hardening is the practice of looking at your home and making sure that its surfaces are as unfriendly to embers as possible. And there's a whole process to go through, starting with your roof and then your vents, and then clearing defensible space around your home, making sure particularly in the first 5 feet around your home that there's nothing flammable if possible, because embers tend to hit the corner of the building and come down and pile in those corners. So if there's nothing for them to burn there, you substantially increase the likelihood that your home will survive a wildfire. I'm not going to dwell, those 2 topics are being tackled in a discussion later by Michael Jones from the UC system, so we're not going to delve into those in depth today, but there is a ton of material on our website and available about those generally. Same with personal and family planning, and that means, you know, having your emergency plan, having your emergency routes mapped out, having your to-go kit, having a plan for your pets, etc. We have a ton of material about that, and you can Google Ready, Set, Go, and CAL FIRE's got a tremendous amount of good information about that as well that's easy to get to. What I'm going to focus on today is something that's more specific to the Fire Safe Council, which is neighborhood organization. And neighborhood organization is all about creating your own neighborhood Fire Safe Council and getting that going in your area. Why should you do that? You should do that for a lot of reasons. One is that wildfire is a community event. Your home is as vulnerable as the home down the road from it. As I mentioned earlier, most fires start from embers. So if the house three doors down is not maintaining itself, has gutters full of things that are going to catch fire and dead brush around it, if a spark lands and catches that, then, you know, that house will catch the next house, and that house will catch the next house. Once it's going, then radiant heat kicks in. So your neighborhood is safest when you prepare together and help look out for people who need help tending to the fire safety of their homes. And that's kind of what I just talked about. Embers, radiant heat, and direct flame contact are the ways that fire can get to you. And embers and all of those can come from a hazard that was nearby in your community and not directly on your property. Houses that are closely spaced are particularly vulnerable to radiant heat. So again, you have more of an incentive. Helping neighbors prepare helps you protect yourself. Also, it is a community effort to get in and out of when there are evacuation warnings or hazards. So you want to work together as a community to make sure that the access routes that you and your neighbors will need to get out are clear and accessible in an emergency situation. And those are the same routes that emergency responders will need to be able to get to you. We urge people to form neighborhood councils in their individual neighborhoods for a number of reasons that we'll get into, but one of the main reasons is that when we land grant funding and do these major projects, they tend to focus around people who are already working to help themselves. So when we want to do a road clearing, if there's a neighborhood council that is organized that road so that they can help us do the job of getting landowner permissions, and alerting people about how to mark things, that makes it so much easier to do the work in that neighborhood. That means that that's the neighborhood we're going to go to first. So you bump yourself up the priority tree by having done some work to organize your own neighborhood. Let's see, and I already mentioned a bunch of reasons why neighborhoods that are organized are more likely to have a positive outcome. You're also likely to have a much better psychological outcome if there is a disaster in the area, knowing that you've done what you can to help your more vulnerable neighbors through that. So benefits of belonging to a neighborhood council include a bunch of things. First, we give you some benefits. A lot of neighborhood groups have old-fashioned phone trees, which are wonderful, but also really prone to breakdown. It's great to have contact information and know how to get in touch with your neighbors and have a plan for doing that. But there are modern automated systems that you can use to send out a message to everybody and have it repeat until people get it, that are far more effective than relying on the next person in the chain to be home and available when an emergency happens. So we have bought, on behalf of Mendocino County Neighborhood Fire Safe Councils, a large charity rate discount to one of those programs, and we can help you get set up with an automated program for that. One of the big things that I'll focus on is our neighborhood leadership meetings. When your neighborhood has a council, the folks that are running that get invited to our leadership meetings, which are actually pretty exciting and great exchanges of information. And what we discover happens is if the different neighborhoods kind of inspire each other with when they talk about the projects that they're working on. So it's motivational. I already mentioned that you kind of get bumped up the priority list for when we have funding for projects. You also find out about them first. Folks who have neighborhood councils, like for example, the senior program that I mentioned and disabled program, that word about that went out first to our organized neighborhood groups so that they had a chance to get folks in their neighborhoods enrolled early. We can also provide one-day insurance for neighborhood groups when you organize your own work parties. So we can help with your liability on that. We can also provide a fiscal sponsorship umbrella. We're a 501c3. So if you're affiliated with us, we can help if you want to apply for your own grants or do fundraising. What does it take to get a neighborhood council going? It can be a little or a lot. Each neighborhood council is unique. Your neighborhood council might do an informational potluck gathering and distribute some literature once a year. And that's good. If that's as much as you do, you can invite speakers and we can help with that. You can do tons more. You can develop neighborhood tours and help each other assess what the hazard areas are and how to address them. You can, as I develop phone trees and hazard maps and neighborhood shutoff locations for emergencies so that people know where to turn off the gas if their neighbor's not home, for example. We talked about the phone tree. Escape routes can be super specific to neighborhoods. In your neighborhood, perhaps the best escape route is going to be through some particular person's backyard if you have to go west. Or so it's best to sort of sit down and really think about that in a very specific manner for where you are. And also to identify the closest available safe havens in case the main route out of your area is blocked. Where can you gather safely together? You can hold classes. You can plan work parties. I've seen a couple of the neighborhoods on the east side of Ukiah have done work parties recently and can accomplish a tremendous amount in a short period of time. And you can work together to document and have ready on the shelf projects that you need funding for, so we have those ready. And you can also, if you want to get more formal, you can become a FireWise USA recognized network. We have a number of those in the county, and that kicks it up to yet another level. So you can do a little bit, you can do a lot. We have the whole range of them in the county, and they're all great and doing good work. And I think with that, I've talked through the time for the presentation